Hi, howdy folks, good morning. I'm gonna get it in picture, but today we're gonna be replacing this ramp. So I built this thing in a hurry about 7 years ago, when my mom had her knee surgeries and she had complications with the surgery, had to go into a home for 41 days, which was horrific. But I built this thing quickly, and it's worked very well up until this year. You could just see, it's hard to see on camera, but the line across here, the knots are lifting in two sections, so we're kind of tripping on those a little bit, and then there's a spot there that's lifting. Other than that, it's held up pretty good. But I just went, and don't mind all these pots, we're getting rid of all these things. It's getting late in the season, so everything is weeding up, drying out. But anyway, who cares about that? So we're gonna do this a little different this time. We're gonna come out another almost 12 inches, because this thing is just a smidge over 7 feet. We're gonna make it 8 feet. We're gonna end up putting a railing around just the corner here, and then the ramp is going to be wider, and there's going to be no more gap there where all the leaves and everything blow in there and collect. That's going to be gone. All right, so we went and got the wood, or I went and got the wood this morning, bad hip and all. But I couldn't get, they had garbage. All the plywood is garbage over there. A lot of knots and everything. The pressure treated stuff was horrific. So I didn't get pressure treat, and sometimes that could be slippery anyway. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna get this one together, and we're gonna actually stain it this time. Last time we just put it down and left it, and it lasted 6-7 years. So this should last a little bit longer. We're gonna build the box first, which is just going to be a basic 4x8 box. That'll be simple construction, and then we'll build the rest. So between all this lumber, 2 2x4s, 14 2x6x8s, and then 3 pieces of plywood, and these 2 buckets of screws, 1 5/8 and 3-inch, was just under $400. Oof. All right, so this is how far I got so far. Sorry, I'm not filming every step of the way, but basically I'm just building a box here. And then this is exactly 4 feet by 8 feet, and it's 6 inches tall. Joists every 16 on center, and that's gonna, when everybody's standing on it and walking on it, there'll be no flex. It'll be strong enough. We're gonna end up staining this and putting a railing on it and everything, so it'll last a little bit longer. No big deal, but we'll try and film a little bit more. We'll probably film more of the rafters and stuff on the ramp side. Alright, so this is the hardest part of the job. So it's doing these cuts. So I did this one here first. I should have showed you how I marked it. But I used the straight edge. It ain't gonna be perfect, but it's gonna look good from my house. But anyway, I used the straight edge and I screwed it to the first board, then I drew my line and I removed it, and now I'm going to trace all the ones that I need to do from the same board, so that way you don't get a variation in size. So you can see, I mean, it's off by periodically it's off by maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, up or down, but in the scheme of things you ain't even going to notice it once the plywood's on. But that's how we're going to do it. Now I'm going to have to, I think I need at least 4 more of these for my design. Alright, so this one you could see is a disaster here, here. So this will be the side that I discard. The wood is garbage. I swear they send all our good wood to China and Japan. Keep all our stuff. We get the junk with the knots. So again, this ain't perfect, but it's gonna suffice for our needs. So I'm going to draw X's on this side so I know I don't get confused. So I know which side of the line my saw blade is going to be on. So basically half the saw blade is going to be off the mark, half the saw blade is going to be hopefully taken off the mark. It won't be perfect, but it works. So I need to cut 3 more. So again, this is the hardest part of the job, but it's got to be done. So I separate these right away so there's no mistakes. Now I could have done these from corner to corner and used both pieces for the ramp. However, it wouldn't leave it thick enough at that end. You know, you can only, the shortest screw I got is 1.25 inches. So I want to leave a little bit of meat down there, because if you try and lay the plywood without any screws in there, even if you glue it, eventually it's going to curl up and it's just a hassle. So you're better off do it with a thickness that you can secure it with screws. I'm sure there's a better way out there, but this is my way. Alright, so I got 4 of those cut. I changed my design on the fly again, like I always do, because I just do this out of my head. So this, I set this up, clamped it down and screwed this down, because normally I would have a second person feeding the wood to them. This actually worked out better than having a second person, because I was in total control of the line, even though it wasn't perfect. But people have a tendency to try and help it, and they don't hold it level enough, and could, you know, throw you off a little bit. So you could see our plywood selection is garbage, but this ramp is probably going to be only on there a few years, and then there's my neighbor. Then it's probably going to get cut up and tossed on a campfire anyway. So it is what it is. Whatever. But so this table right here has a couple 2x4s going across my bigger jack stands. So I'm going to lay out my pieces on here and go from there. Alright, so that's basically, that's the idea right there. Right here I got these, I gotta measure them out and even them out and everything, equalize them. But, so right now I have the cut side up. So this is the side that the ramp is going to be screwed to. So I'll use that other plywood to screw to this. So I got to get these even first, and then I'll get that plywood on here this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to screw the plywood to these to hold it, and then once my son gets home, we're going to flip it over, and so that way it'll be exposed just like it is now, and we'll be able to start putting in like supports in here. So I still may just put one piece back here, but I got to see how it's going to sit, which I could do right now. And if that's the case, then I got to trim 1.5 inches off the tips, which this would be stronger, but it'll also thicken the end, which is fine too. It's not that big a deal. So I did cut those original, these ramp boards, I cut them at exactly 8 feet. So actually I think I'm going to do that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'll just trim off 1.5 inches on the fronts, and I'll cut this to length, and we'll start screwing stuff together. Alright, so I just need to divide this up into 4. So we know this is 48 inches, so that's approximately 16 on center. I'll transfer my lines down. So we're going to do some pilot holes here. So you could take a piece of the cut wood and, you know, draw lines. I'm using my micrometer where the mark is because I'm that good. Some of us are born gifted, others got to struggle. But the struggle is real. Flip this over, and I'm going to start my screws. 3 inches. This just makes it easier when you're working by yourself. I'm actually working in an extreme amount of pain right now. This hip and lower back are killing me, but I love doing this kind of stuff. My mom needs it. Now we're gonna get the ends started. Oh, see that? My micrometer is a little off here on this one for some reason. Yeah, I see that now. How did I miss that? Things happen. It just happened to happen to me. Sometimes I get distracted when I'm talking. Alright, let's try this again. Take 2. Alright, that looks a little better. Not perfect, but it'll have to do. Alright, that's the gist of that. Said I'm going to do the end ones first. It's not rocket science. So basically you want these flush. This one's sticking up a little, so I just got to push it down. Alright. Okay, so now we're ready to drop the plywood on here. Yeah, I know we got a sheet of plywood underneath, but who's going to crawl under there to screw up? Nah, we're going to screw from the top down. And I hate moving tools and supplies 10 times, but it is what it is. I'm going to have to take all this off of here and transfer it over there in a minute. But first things first. Alright, I finally got smart and I set up my other little workstation table over there. Alright, I was going to wait till my son got home, but so I got to inspect this side of the plywood, the other side of the plywood, see which side is better. Like I said, this is pretty much all garbage. Yeah. It figures the side with the stamp on it is the best side. I'm not gonna go crazy here. I gotta be careful. I don't knock my stand over. Let's see. What I need to do is buy 2 more sets of these sawhorses here. Them are the best. They're good, but they're not great. So this is called using your head. It's a tactic some of us smarty pantses use. Alright, look at that. See how she looks. Sticking out a little bit here. So might have to trim these, which I could do with the handsaw after. I think it looks good. Here's the thing. Now there's going to be no plywood on the bottom, like this piece is not going to be here. I'm just using that for support. But you could see how that tapers, so it's only going to be about 1 inch high here. This is the size of my shortest screw right here. So I could go back about to here. So I'm going to glue the heck out of this front. Alright, I'm going down the 2 sides first because that's easier. Oh, not sure what happened there, but I'm going to send a 3-incher in. That one spun out. Still got room for this. That one's doing it too. Alright, what I'm going to have to do here, send a 3-inch down and then cut it on the other side. And that's what I'm going to do on the ends. So, not sure what happened there. Things happen. So I want them to countersink, and this one really didn't countersink great, but we don't need no tripping hazard. Alright, so for these last few, I'm switching to the shorties here. So now I need my clamp because I want to keep this in line. Okay, that's perfect right there. Okay. So these 4-foot clamps are really nice. They're actually bigger than 4 foot. So now I will measure off, get these perfectly in line. I'll just put 1 screw in each end. Then I'll have to draw a line. That's all, or I'll just put my, instead of drawing and leaving marks, I'll put my straight edge on there. Alright, so we know that these are 16 on center. So I am going to drive. Usually I like to work from one end back down to the other, but I'm going to drive a screw through now so they don't move on me. And it'll be easier to line up my straight edge. Oh, these ain't even going through. Barely. Nice. Alright, so now, whoops, I'm going to do this one first. So let's get a screw here. So I eyeballed this with the screws in the side here. So now all I need to, actually let me do it this way because I'm going to have to reach in from this side. There we go. That's it. Now I could just walk down and shroom them in. And I'll keep an eye on the ends as I go. So this straight edge, you'll notice I got holes in it every so often, and that's because a lot of projects, like even when I started today, I ended up screwing it to the first board to keep, so I could get that angle first, and it worked out great. Then I just traced all the others. Ooh, I don't like that one. Just try a fresh one. Otherwise I'll send a 3-incher. Yep. I don't know, every now and then they spin through. It's probably the garbage wood. That's perfect. So any of these that are sticking through on the bottom, we'll just cut them, grind them off with the grinder. Little extra work. But I can't have my mother walking with a walker and tripping. That's all we need. I can't find my short bit, so I'm using this long one. I know I've seen some ramps over the years where people, and I tried it myself, where people tried to get cute with the end and trying to just have the plywood going to the ground, but it always curls up, and it's a hazard, a fall hazard, trip hazard. Don't do that. All right, same thing here. We're gonna get I already got a screw on this end. I gotta get a screw in the other end. I'll get this line done and that'll be it. Alright, doing this by myself. It's not too heavy. Probably gonna want to slide though. Let's see. Nope, it's not too bad. Alright. So now I can put in some stringers in here for support. I'll get them as low as I can. Might have to rip a few. And then I got 2x4s and 2x6s left over for the rest. Alright, so now we're just going to stagger some supports in here. And I'm just going to use the 2x4s that I bought. So let's see, I need one at 13 3/4 to start. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a few pilot holes, or I could do that on the fly as I go. So, all right, let me remeasure that because I forgot my measurement. 13 3/4. All right, so I got all the little nailers in. That's going to provide support. You won't get too much flex or anything like that. But now I got these screws that are sticking through here. I'm just going to take my grinding wheel and I'm just going to grind them down, cut them off. Alright, I'll let them little pieces cool off before I collect them. I don't want to burn my fingertips, but there's a job for every tool and a tool for every job. Alright, so tomorrow, actually today, I'm going to flip this one onto those sawhorses there. I'm going to grab the other box I built and I'm going to put that on these sawhorses next to it. And then in the morning I'm going to stain them. So I'm gonna try and find a stain that matches the house, the dark gray next door, and we'll otherwise I'll do brown, something like that. But That's it for today, man. I'm whooped. Everything hurts. All right, today's the next morning, and I just got both of these stained. Looking pretty good. It's Canyon Brown. So today's the next morning. Oh, I got one spot there I need to touch up. But next we'll be putting them into place. All right, good morning, folks. All right, so this is the old ramp. We're gonna take it out and we're gonna set the new one. All right, let's grab that one. Just go down a smidge. All right. Back straight, just back straight. All right, hold on. We could just slide it. We just put that 2x4 on the end to take up the space between the concrete subfloor there, foundation. No, it's not. All right, let's get the other piece. Well, I can maybe use the stick though. It's not heavy at all. Oh. You want to test it out? Where's your walker? It ain't perfect, but it's the best I could do. So we got to be careful in the rain and stuff. It might be slippery because I put the stain on there.
Yeah.
So coming back up, got to be careful because there's a little lip here for now.
That's okay. I had a lip before.
No, I'm gonna make it so there's no lip.
Oh.
So that lip is a little lower than the old one too.
Yeah,
Slightly, but
yeah,
that's the best I could do.
Don't worry about it.
'Cause I'm maimed. And then so I moved it over, so I'll be able to put a railing now.
Yeah.
To this corner and probably almost all the way down, or at least halfway I could do. Yeah. And I'm gonna do the white railing like on John's door there. All right, good.
Where's my lion?
we moved everything because we had a clean over.
Well, don't put those pots back.
I'm not, because I could barely move them. Alright, you like it so far? Look at that. It's like a perfect gap. So the whole thing will settle together now, you know? So I'm going to get a similar railing to what's on your door there. So we'll do, I think I could do just one post, one post, one post. Worst case, I'll do post, 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 post here, and then post. Might be over. But if I can... 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Because I gotta put one.
Oh, you're doing the middle?
Well, I might. But if I'm gonna definitely do one there, I gotta match it here, so I might as well do every 4 feet. Alright. So, that is not the finished product because we shifted it over a little bit, and we're gonna actually put a railing on here on the right side to the corner and to about halfway down, maybe to the end, I'm not sure yet. Just a little extra stability just in case my mom has any trouble. So, but this is the end of this video. Thanks for watching.